Hey YouTube, RicoKnows here. So you guys know the deal. NFL draft is happening. Everybody's excited about it. I'm getting spammed comment after comment after comment about the NFL draft. A couple things I'll say about the NFL draft. I don't put a lot of value into it. I don't really watch it. I really don't. I might see some highlights here and there, but I don't care. We can pull up the charts and talk about it, but the reality of the situation is I've been watching these players for at least 4 years, and I'm talking about from high school huddle film through college. I do my assessment on these players in its totality. Like, I look at everything holistically. I know these players' entire career paths, where they went to high school, where they transferred to, even if they went to multiple high schools, where they went to college, when they were starting, when they weren't starting, injury issues, all of that. I pretty much know every single player in the NFL draft. There's only going to be about 260, 250 players drafted. It's really easy, light work for me because I follow 133 FBS level teams. So when I see the draft, there's no name that shows up where I'm like shocked. Maybe position-wise, I might be shocked. Like, whoa, I didn't expect him to go here. That team really values that individual. But it's not like people are getting drafted that I've never heard of, at least in my case. Now, the average fan may not know every single player being drafted. I got it. The average fan is not Mel Kiper, is not RicoKnows, is not any of the draft experts out there or college football experts, right? You're an average fan. You watch your favorite team. You probably watch 12 to 15 games a year. But for those of us who are analyzing every single college football game, and I analyze about, 30 matchups a week for the MVPs, and those 30 matchups means I have to intimately know 60 teams every single week. But I do watch every single FBS level game throughout the year. I record them, put them on my hard drive. I keep them on YouTube, ESPN Plus, YouTube TV if you want to add them to your library. And what you do is, over time, you learn so much about the players, you don't get surprised by anything. Like, you don't worry about it. If you watch any of my previous episodes, when I talk about the top 10 at every single position group, I've already talked about all these players ad nauseum, and I'm not surprised by anything. So somebody asked the question today on TikTok. They said, hey, Rico, who did the NFL draft or the NFL scouting combine, who did it help the most? Like, who improved their draft stock the most at the combine? And instead of just giving a knee-jerk reaction and sounding off with 2 or 3 people's names, I want to give you a really refined answer, and we're going to do it by position group. So firstly, if you didn't know, I have my rankings, and they're always a work in progress. My rankings change every single day, essentially, until the draft. Leading up to the draft, I keep reassessing, reevaluating the players. I put them in a certain order. The top 10 is in the bottom. You can't see it on the screen because I have it spread out for the entire my entire monitor. This is a 17-inch window. I have a 34-inch monitor, so you can't see everything beyond that screen. That's okay. But I have my top 10 at the very bottom, my deep hidden gems in the middle, and then my RicoKnows draft picks, which are my 5 favorite players. I don't even care if they get drafted. I don't care where they get drafted. And I'm never guessing where someone's going to go in the draft. Irrelevant to me whatsoever. All I do is evaluate players, identify who I like and who I don't like, or how much I like a particular player. And that's it. I don't really care about where they get drafted, when they're going. I don't try to predict the future. So when I look at the NFL draft combine, I call it the underwear Olympics. I call it the underwear Olympics. They're just wearing a bunch of underwear and they're going out and doing a bunch of things. That doesn't really move me all that much. I think watching film on the players, what's more important to me is not how fast your 40 is at the combine, but how fast do you do that same 40 on the field in pads? And what I'm really saying is, does it translate to the tape? There will be times I see someone. Let me give you an example. There's a running back, Jahar Jordan. Jahar Jordan running the 40 yesterday, or whenever he ran it at the combine, he is the 7th slowest running back at a 4.56 40. Okay? Jahar Jordan is by far, by and large, the fastest Louisville football player. There is no way he's slower than his Louisville teammates. You watch the tape, he's gone. And the fastest 40 of any running back was Isaac Guerendo. Isaac Guerendo, a backup running back at Wisconsin, third string running back at Wisconsin, second string running, no, third string, behind Chaz and Braylon Allen. The backup running back at Wisconsin transfers to Louisville this last year, was still a backup running back. The star running back at Louisville this year was Jahar Jordan. And when you turn on the tape, Jahar Jordan is running away from defenders. Isaac Garindo is not. Okay? Yet, pre-draft preparation, Isaac Garindo blows the doors out and beats everybody, runs a 4.33. Does that mean he was in the best possible shape of his life for that combine? Yes, it does. Does that mean he's perfected the art of running the 40-yard dash? Yes, it does. But when I see the tape, that 4.33 does not show up on tape. Did he improve his draft stock? I would say so. Some teams are going to say, wow, he's really capable of 4.33. But I'm going to tell you, when you turn on the tape, doesn't quite get there. Now, Jalen Wright, I made a video about Jalen Wright. If you go watch my top 10 running backs video on YouTube, you will see me talk about the top 10 running backs on my list. And I'm very high on Jalen Wright. And it's because the 4.38 shows up on tape. I say he's just got that extra juice other players don't have. He just outruns that linebacker for an extra 2 or 3 yards. Every time it looks like somebody has an angle on him, the defender has to readjust his angle. And I can show you clips. I just don't want to get copyright violations. So I don't show you the clips, but this is what I see on tape. There's a running back down here, Jaden Sheridan. He was on my list. He's an FCS All-American. He was on my list. As soon as I turned on the tape and watched him, I said, oh my goodness, this is a great running back. And now you see him, he's 4.45 range. So all I'm saying is when you see a 40 at the combine, I really don't care. I want to see it on tape. And if I see you on tape and you're outrunning people, I believe your speed from the tape. Like, I just believe it. Right? I'm not surprised by it. But now, if you're slow on tape and you come out to the combine and you run fast as hell, I don't care. You're slow on tape. You're slow when it matters. It doesn't translate. You're a good track runner. You worked really hard with a private trainer and he taught you how to run a 40. You're really good in your drive phase, your get off, and you finish strong, blah, blah, blah. You're not built like that. I watched it on tape. I can give you an example. JSN on tape is really slow. But when you watch him run a 40, he ran a 4.49, and everybody says, Rico, he's got 4.4 speed. Not on tape, he doesn't. I don't care what he runs in a drill. Watch the tape again. And I'm saying that because there's going to be some people who overreact, like they do every year, about these 40s. So let's go back to the position group. Did any of these quarterbacks help themselves running a 40? Obviously, Keaton Slovis running a 4.55 40 is very impressive. Super absurd. Nobody saw that coming. 4.55 40 is very, very fast for a quarterback. I mean, that's dual threat caliber quarterback, but that doesn't help me with Keaton Slovis because he's not a dual threat guy. He's not known for running. I can't do design run plays with this guy. Maybe you believe in him. Maybe he's got the right skill set. When I look down here, Spencer Rattler, very disappointing, 4.95. Very disappointing. That's almost unathletic. That's almost unathletic. That shouldn't happen. You can't extend plays in the NFL with 4.95 speed. That's disappointing. Austin Reed, I don't care what he runs in a 40. Not a very good quarterback. And Sam Hartman's worse. And I told everybody that. I told everyone that. As a matter of fact, let's go look at my top 10 quarterbacks. If I bring it into the screen here, yeah, Sam Hartman's not on my list anywhere on my top 10. Not a chance, bro. I've got Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix Jr., Spencer Rattler, who I'm very disappointed in, and I might even move him just off that lack of ability alone. I might move Bo Nix up and maybe Caleb Williams ahead of him. Okay? And then you got J.J. McCarthy, Michael Pratt, Carter Bradley, and then Austin Reed at the end down there. Stats merchant. I wasn't too impressed. Now, you might go watch the throwing drills and worry about velocity and ball play. Oh, my God, Joe Milton threw it 70 yards. How many times in a game are we throwing it 70 yards? Like, what does that matter? Are we worried about Hail Marys? We're going to bring in the backup quarterback for a Hail Mary? Because you're not starting if you're Joe Milton. I don't care how far you can throw the ball. Okay, I just personally don't. Playing quarterback is so difficult. And it has very little to do with throwing the ball. I want to make that clear. And I know that sounds crazy, but have you ever looked at a starting quarterback in the NFL? What makes it so hard that there are only 32 of those jobs on the planet Earth. And half the NFL quarterbacks suck. Half the starters in the NFL, you talk shit about them. There's only 32. Only 32 jobs in the world, and only 16 guys are doing it right. That's how hard that job is. And it's got nothing to do with throwing the ball. It really doesn't. Like, there's so many people that can throw a spiral. So many people that can throw a ball over 50 yards. There's dual threat quarterbacks everywhere in college. How many quarterbacks are there in college? Every team's got 3. There's high schools. Every high school's got a starting quarterback, right? Everybody can throw the football. I get out there right now. I will throw a 40, 50-yard spiral. Zero problem. I grew up playing football my whole life. My twin brother was a high school quarterback. Dude's been throwing over 60 yards my whole life. So what? Throwing 60 yards, throwing 50 yards is nothing. It's another day for some of us. Now, if you're not a natural athlete, I get it. You've seen some people who've never been around a football. They can't throw it. They might be really impressed with the throw in a spiral. But I promise you, bro, I went and watched Rex Grossman warm up. Rex Grossman, former Florida great, former Washington Redskin. He was warming up. I watched him in a game against, it was the Battle of the Beltway. It was against the Ravens. And Rex Grossman warming up, it was a preseason game, actually. In pregame, I saw him warming up, and that dude looked terrible. I said, his arm strength's that of a high school quarterback. What are we looking at? But it's because being an NFL quarterback, I actually have a video of me throwing it 50 yards, just posted it last year. So you're wrong down there. Somebody on TikTok says he's not throwing it over 30. There's a video of me throwing it 50 just last year. Go find it. It's on TikTok. Bums. The point is, it's not about the quarterback throwing the ball. It's about managing the offense, knowing the play clock, getting a play called in the huddle. Who couldn't call a play in the huddle? There's some guy in the preseason couldn't call a play in the huddle coming into the NFL. All the terminology. There's so much to it. You got to know every audible. You got to know every read, every coverage, pre-draft read or pre-snap reads. So much of it is mental. And then there's those physical parts that you need to tie it all together the whole time. And you're still expected to throw a tight spiral. Throwing a tight spiral is this much of playing a quarterback. So many people are sitting at home right now with tight spirals. So with that being said, I don't really care about a 40. I don't care about what they're doing in their drills at the combine. Doesn't move me. You got to go watch the tape. You got to see if they're missing their reads. You need that all 22 and see what they're doing when they see the receivers. Do they always take the dump? Do they always take the drop off? Do they take the first level throw and never try to do that second level throw? You'll know what I'm talking about. You got a tight end in the flats, 5 yards and out. And then you got that receiver at the second level, about 15-yard dig behind it. And the quarterback with no confidence keeps taking that 5-yarder. It's 3rd and 12, bro. Why'd you throw it before the sticks? Well, that's what I had open. I'm telling you, I watched a kid get benched for doing this. Well, shout out to William Haskell at San Diego State. Coaches called to play. It was like 3rd and long, and he would not throw it where it was supposed to go. And dude was open. He didn't have the confidence. They benched him immediately. He threw a tight spiral, completed a pass. Get him out of this damn game, because that's not what it takes to play quarterback. And some of these kids are going to learn that the hard way. So obviously my top 10 is here. Some people don't agree with it. That's fine. That's all subjective. That's all opinions. That's fine. No problem. But I know this. You're not really improving your draft stock at the NFL Combine with your 40 as a quarterback. It doesn't really matter. Okay? Maybe you can make some money if you were faster than they anticipated. But for me, I want to see your processing speed. I want to see what you do on the board, in the film room. That's way more important to me from the quarterback position. Okay. Now, running backs. We'll go to running backs here. We keep it by groups. Running backs running 40s. Pretty dangerous stuff. You want guys who are a certain size, and we see Trey Benson here. Did he do himself a great job by running a 4.39? I believe so. I still have durability concerns with Trey Benson, but I really like Trey Benson. Robinson running a 4.42. Sheridan, shout out to him. Kamani Vidal. One of my favorite running backs in the NFL draft. One of my personal favorites because he's from Georgia. Watched him play in high school. I talked to his father. I've even talked to Kamani. Shout out to him. Follower of the channel. We talk in the DMs. And I did a highlight video on him last year. And so his father and Kamani each reached out and thanked me. And then they wrote to me. I know they follow me all the time now. And I send them messages probably once a month. I don't want to exaggerate, but probably once a month. And I just send him a funny video, send him a shout out, whatever. But it's all the same. Production, and then you go run a 4.46. I'm thoroughly impressed with Kamani. I thought he was going to be slower. I thought he was 4.55 range, and that's me telling you on tape he looks 4.55. So that's the problem there, is I need to get that 4.46 that he just ran on tape somewhere. I need it to pop on tape, and I don't see it. So I'm hoping he doesn't fall too far, but I'm hoping the team gives him a chance. Shout out to Marshawn Lloyd. No one's worried about his speed. It's his ability to hang on to the ball. He does fumble. Tyron Tracy was a backup running back at Purdue and then burst onto the scene and became the starter this year. Congratulations. And he's looking pretty good. Everybody else, if you're over 4.5 as a running back, I think you're just an average guy. You're just an average guy. Nothing special. Remember, Emmitt Smith ran a 4.55. Kind of leave it there. Ricky Waters ran a 4.71. But that was in the 90s, bro. It doesn't work that way anymore. The defenses are so much faster now. 4.71 doesn't cut it. So you see Ray Davis, 4.52. That's fine. Michael Wiley, yep. Helani had injury concerns, been a 1,000-yard rusher multiple times. Well, at least one time back in 2019 or something like that for Boise. What I'll say about Helani is it's unfortunate that he wasn't a little bit faster, but this is pretty good, man. And you're in the right area. You're with Blake Corum. You're with Dylan Lobby, who everybody's talking about these guys. You're faster than Bucky Irving. It's just nuts. Bucky's not that big. He should have been faster. 4.55, not really cutting it. And then you have Jahar Jordan, who I told you is fast as hell. And he ran a 4.56. Isaiah Davis looks slow on tape. He looks 4.65, and he ran a 4.57. I think he's in good shape for the combine. That's good. I like Isaiah Davis. If you guys don't know him, South Dakota State. All-time great running back in FCS history, just won back-to-back national titles because of him. Isaiah Davis is tough. A lot of people want to see where he's going to go in the NFL. He's everybody's favorite. You got to root for him and stuff like that. Amani Bailey, TCU, workhorse. Speaking of workhorse, shout out to Schrader. I like Milton's metrics, but you see him, 4.62. And this is for all the Georgia fans out there. All you guys can consistently think your entire room is NFL caliber players. The whole depth chart is NFL. No, it's not. You're going to get another 7th-round draft pick if you keep at it. You had a 7th-round draft pick just the other day. You're going to have another one at running back. You don't have the best running backs in the country at Georgia. Shout out to that whole running back room. I like a lot of the players. Dylan Johnson running a 4.68, coming off of injury, still not 100%. This doesn't help your draft stock. Probably shouldn't have ran at all. And just wait until you got 100%. And then Audric Estime, 4.71. My goodness. On tape, one of the best running backs out there. Very productive. And more importantly, he was the starter and the leader among other good running backs. Right? Notre Dame's running back room was stacked, and he was better than all of them. And I also want to tell you, when I turn on the tape, Audric Estime is probably the best player on that team. And he ran a 4.71. That's problematic. I think that really hurt his draft stock. I think in preparation for the draft, if he was running anywhere in this range, they should not have ran at the combine. That's how I feel. I think the combine really cripples you if you're a 4.7 athlete. If you're a 4.71, you're not NFL caliber. And you can't let that be seen unless it's after years of wear and tear. Right? There might be a 4.71 running back in the NFL right now, but you can't do that as a pup, as a fresh guy. So that's problematic, man. I hope they love his tape. I hope they see what they see, because I know I do. I think very highly of Audric Estime. I want to show you guys my top 10 running backs, and we'll talk about it. Top 10 running backs, obviously I told you Jalen Wright was my number one guy for RicoKnows playlist. I love everything about him. Kamani Vidal, love everything about him. Jahar Jordan, Speed Demon. Dylan Lobby, you're there. Isaac Garindo. His 40 just got him to my top 5. I like the kid. I think he's a good team player. I think he did everything right at Louisville, did everything right at Wisconsin. So now he just got into my top 5 of RicoKnows draft picks, right? Not my actual top 10. Then my long range guys, I really believe in Jaden Sheridan and Isaiah Davis. I had Sheridan in this area, but he was way down here. And now I believe in him wholeheartedly. Davis looked good. Jermaine Brown Jr. is still one of my favorites. If you don't know him, backup running back at UAB. Isaiah Infante, an all-time great at the FCS level, transferred to San Jose State and then Cal. He's a short yardage back. And Rasheen Ali, just completely injury-prone, but what an amazing runner. We'll hope he makes it. When you look at the actual top 10, I still believe in Braylon Allen, Jalen Wright, Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, and then you start seeing it drop off a little bit, and you see I had to move Audric Estime. He's not out of my top 10, but a 4.71, you have to acknowledge that it does not metrically look right. It is not NFL caliber. There's no other way to put it. 4.71 40 for a running back is not NFL caliber. That's the only way you can say it. Call it what it is. Okay. Going to wide receivers now. If we look at the wide receivers running their 40s, who improved, who helped? You got Xavier Worthy. Everybody's talking about he ran a 4.21. I don't think this improved his draft stock. I think everybody knew he was the fastest wide receiver going in. Go watch my wide receiver video before the combine. I made a wide receiver video, and I had Xavier Worthy 9th, and all I said was, no one's faster than this guy. He's the fastest guy around. That's what I said in the video. It's there. It's recorded. That's proof, right? Now, everybody can do this, and you're going, well, 4.21, you are a first-round draft pick. Okay. You do that. You do that, and you keep doing that, and let me know how many times that has panned out, whether it be Darius Hayward-Bay, whether it be, and everybody always goes to Ross, but I'm telling you, that's not how you evaluate wide receivers. That is not how it's done. The way it's done is you look at a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. and you say to yourself, this is a 6-something monster, a touchdown-making wide receiver everywhere he goes, and he shines, and then he runs a 4.33 40. I thought Brian Thomas Jr. was in the 4.5 range. He shocked me. I want you to understand something. Xavier Worthy did not shock me. I expected Xavier Worthy to be the fastest wide receiver in the whole damn draft. I expected him to be the fastest player. Now, he's the fastest player ever. Rico, no. He ran a 4.21 40. It's incredible. I expected him to be that fast. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. When you watch the tape, Xavier Worthy is that fast. He brings that speed on tape. Go watch it. But while you're watching it, don't go watch Xavier Worthy highlights. Go watch Texas football film and watch every play. And watch Xavier Worthy drop catchable passes. And watch him get jammed off the line by more physical DBs. And then go turn on the tape on Brian Thomas Jr. It's fucking apples and oranges, bro. It's night and day. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not knocking Xavier Worthy for his speed. I love his speed. He can't catch. That motherfucker couldn't catch COVID. And everybody got COVID. Adonai Mitchell can catch. Running a 4.3 40 really increased his draft stock. I think he was in the third round range. He might get into the second round. Okay? That is a great run for him. Devontae Walker, 3.4 3.6. Did not see that coming. Great range for Devontae Walker. I'll show you guys my chart in a bit. I was already high on Devontae Walker. I was already high on Brian Thomas Jr. I'm even higher now. Jacob Cowan, he was on my hidden gems list. He ain't going to be hidden much longer. He's number 5 on the whole damn combine. 4.38. Jacob Cowan, a smaller, undersized slot receiver. Really like everything about him. Roman Wilson's never making my chart. I don't care what he runs. I don't care what he does. He's not making my chart. Shout out to him. 4.39. Fast as hell. Won a national title. I know you guys like Roman Wilson. I don't. You got to like some people. You can't like others. I turn on the tape. I don't like Roman Wilson. There you go. Ladd McConkey. Did not expect a 4.39 out of Ladd. I wanted a 4.4. He went even faster. I had Ladd number 5 on my list already. People will be like, what? Yes, I had Ladd number 5. Anthony Gold was one of my hidden gems. You'll see him on the chart. I'm leaving him there. He goes out and runs a 4.39. Now, I need to put Xavier Leggett back on my list. He was on my list. He was in my top 10. He was 10th, right behind Xavier Worthy. I need to put him back on. It's a typo that I took him off, but he ran a 4.39. These are guys that are on my list already. You know why they're on my list already? Because I watched tape. I don't care what they ran a 40 in. Ricky Pearsall, congratulations. You ran a fast 40. You're still not in my top 10. Jaquan Jackson is. Jaquan Jackson was already on my list. And fun fact for you, Bud Means was actually on my list, and I took him off. Shout out to Pitt. He was not on my top 10 list. He was on my RicoKnows draft picks list. I just liked his tape. Lightatrick Griffin is a return man. He's going to get drafted really high, guys, higher than you expected. This is a great returner. So the fact that Griffin ran 4.43 doesn't surprise me. That's pretty much where I expected him to be. None of these guys move me. Shout out to Flournoy. I need to go back and watch more tape on him. Rome running a 4.45. That's fast enough. And you guys will see. Rome being down here, Rico, there's 15 receivers faster than him. I don't give a shit if there's 20 receivers faster than him. Rome's a really good wide receiver. Jermaine Burton surprised me with his speed, and McCaffrey surprised the hell out of me. So Luke McCaffrey running a 4.46 is going to be a problem for some people. Luke McCaffrey is going to get drafted in the 3rd or 4th round, and you guys better not ignore Luke McCaffrey. That's a really good wide receiver. Fundamentally on point. Love Jamari Thrash. You guys know he's in my top 5. RicoKnows. Malik Washington is somebody I have to add to my list. I put him in my top 10, but it's really a placeholder for Xavier Leggett, who was already in my top 10 before. It's just because I didn't want to miss his name. Here's a guy that nobody really talks about. Devon Vele. Devon Vele at Utah. His size is unreal. And he went out there and ran a 4.47. Very impressive. Okay, once we get over 4.5, though, as wide receivers, when you have corners trailing you and covering you at 4.3, once you get over 4.5, you're not very fast. I just saw somebody down here in the chat wrote and said, Tank Dell ran a 4.49. Look how that ended up. I don't know if you follow me, Julio. I don't know. But I want everybody to understand. Tank Dell ran a 4.49, and he was my number 1 wide receiver in the draft. I didn't give a shit what anybody else ran. I watched the tape. I turned on the tape, watched Tank Dell, and said there's no wide receiver better. No one can cover that man out of his breaks. I just watched him get 1,300 yards in back-to-back seasons. I think Tank Dell is him. I don't give a shit what his 40 is. Oh, but Rico, he ran a 4.49 and he ran a 4.5. Tank Dell's slow. No, he's not. He's blazing fast. And you know why? Because there aren't a whole lot of routes that are 40 yards straight. Now, try doing a 3-cone drill with Tank Dell. Try doing a route tree with Tank Dell. Try to stay on his hip on a post corner. I dare you. You're going to look silly. You can't stop some of these receivers. People need to understand. Oh, shout out to Julio. So, once you get over 4 or 5, though, we have a problem. You no longer have that separation. Someone will be right next to you, and this is where things get bad. I want to tell you guys, I'm very disappointed in Florida State's 40s as a whole, like their whole team. It looks like they didn't come prepared. Florida State and Miami players ran really slow in every single thing, as far as I'm concerned, the vast majority of them. And it might be overtraining. It might not be the right preparation. Maybe they went and trained with other people. Some people, like Trey Benson showed up, but some guys didn't. And I think a lot of that can be like you're being sore. It's like track. If you guys ever watch track meets, some guys are extremely fast at certain parts of the season versus others, and it's just their preparation and their build-up and they're getting ready. Some guys didn't ramp up correctly on their stuff. This guy says, went crazy on UFC last night. Yes, we did. We went 11-0. Shout out to you guys. If you didn't know, I picked UFC fights. Got all of them right on the fight card yesterday. 11-0. Picked a plus 500 underdog and got it right. Shout out to me. But when we look at these receivers here, Javon Baker at a 4.5440. This is so slow. And Javon Baker's a transfer from Alabama, gone to UCF. I like Javon Baker as a wide receiver. I think he's a good wide receiver. That hurt his draft stock. Jalen Coker coming out of the FCS. What a great wide receiver at Holy Cross. Matthew Sluka's number 1 target. I turned on the tape for Matthew Sluka. Coker stuck out to me. I'm like, oh my goodness, this kid is him. Put him all over my list, and now I'm sitting here going, man, 4.57. Ugh. I still like his skill set. He still looks good on tape, but it's 4.57. So we'll see where he ends up on the final chart. Keon Coleman, man. Keon Coleman, 4.61. Let me say this. The margin for error at the top of this draft in wide receivers is very small. In other words, there's a lot of good players. When you see my chart after I pull this up, I'm going to pull up my chart, and you're going to see, you're going to be like, Rico, those aren't hidden gems. Those are names everybody knows. I'm running out of room, bro. I want to put a bunch of FCS players. I love hidden gems. I like finding guys who are at the FCS level, but I got too many Power 5 guys to talk about. 30 to 35 wide receivers get drafted every single year, somewhere around there. So there's a lot of guys that are draft worthy. It's just how are they going to make the team or not? Keon Coleman, I think he's better than some receivers in the NFL. I think he's better than some receivers on your team. So he's going to make a team. He's going to get drafted. He'll be fine, right? All that stuff. 4'6", 140 will have NFL corners not respecting you at all. You'll get no cushion. You get nothing, bro. We don't care. Down and distance, irrelevant. 4'6", 140, I'm on you. I'm literally on you, bro. I don't need to worry about anything. You're not blowing past me. You're not taking the top off of no defense. We know they're not calling anything else other than some short, medium shit here. Because you ain't got that juice in you. And that's a problem. Isaiah Williams, I never believed in. This man took 5 weeks to score a touchdown in college football. I'm not cool with Isaiah Williams. I just never bought into it. Okay, so I'm not even kidding. He started the season. He's getting 100 yards, Rico. He's not getting any touchdowns. Okay, wide receivers. So let's talk about it. My top 10. Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't have to run. He is him. Brian Thomas Jr. moves all the way up to number 2 for me, just off of the 40 and metrics alone and the pedigree at which he played. I already loved his tape. I just didn't think he was fast enough. I'm dropping Rome to 3. He's still very good. Malik Neighbors, I actually think he has character concerns. I don't like Malik Neighbors, but he's undoubtedly a very good wide receiver. There's no way to argue that. He's at 4. I had Ladd McConkey at 5. I'm keeping him at 5. I just can't see him moving up ahead of any of the guys I have ahead of him. Xavier Worthy shoots way up because he's fast. I got it. I got him at 6. Troy Franklin, I still respect his speed and skill set. And then I got Tez Walker in my top 10 now. Tez Walker was up here in my favorites. He's now actually in my official top 10. I'm going to say Devon Vele is probably going to drop out. I'm going to leave Malik Washington here. So that's where Xavier Levitt goes. He was 10th. I'll move him up to 9. Things like that. Adonai Mitchell probably belongs up here. So they might both move these guys out. Adonai Mitchell and Xavier Leggett. And I'll have to find spaces for these two up here. So let's talk about my top 5 that I actually like, that I would want you on your team. Number 1 is Malachi Corley. Shout out to him, one of my best group of 5 wide receivers out of Western Kentucky. Jamari Thrash, love everything about him. Great football player. Shout out to Georgia State and Louisville. Keon Coleman, what a stud. I'm now dropped him out of my top 10 because you can't run a 4.6 40 and be in my top 10. I don't care. You could be a good football player, but you were a Michigan State okay guy. You got to Florida State. You dominated. You look good. But you know why you look so good? Because Johnny Wilson's on the other side, and he also runs 4.5. So I don't know, man. I had to do it. I love Keon Coleman as a player. I'm moving him up he's in my top 5 of my favorite players, but he can't possibly be in my top 10 with that metric. I don't know if it shows up on tape. I don't know. Luke McCaffrey, really like everything he did at Rice. He's moving into my top 5 favorite players. Jaquan Jackson, I've always believed in him. He's always been in my top 5 favorite players out of Tulane. Then when you go to my deep underdog, my deep hidden guys, you got Ty James, and I'm going to tell you something about Ty James. This is a Mercer wide receiver. I discovered him, FCS wide receiver. I don't care that he didn't have an invite to the combine. I don't care that he wasn't running there. I like Ty James. I think he's better than some players in the NFL. Then you see Jacob Cowing, Anthony Gould, and Javon Baker, and Ryan Flournoy. I said these are hidden gems. They're out there running 4.3s. How the hell are they hidden gems? It's hard to tell. Okay? It's even hard to go there. We'll move over to tight ends. Sorry about that. I'm trying to think of how I get there. Oh, I was like, where did my draft stuff go? Combines went below. Sorry about that, y'all. I don't have my scene set up. So tight ends running their 40s. What did I see? A couple things. First and foremost, like Devin Culp being the fastest 40. Congratulations. I think it's awesome. I already knew Devin Culp was the man. Anytime you are keeping certain players, and I'm going to show you guys West over here in a bit, but you're keeping certain players on the bench, you're very good. Kevin Culp is a very good wide receiver. He's a receiving wide receiver. He's not known for his blocking. 4.47 40. I think he improved his draft stock immensely. It's almost wide receiver speed. I mean, that's faster than some of the wide receivers we just saw. 4.47, bro, at tight end. Kevin Culp is him. The rest of these guys I really believe in. I expected Jaheim Bell to be faster. He ran a 4.61. I'm disappointed in that. But the rest of the guys were all kind of the same speed. Cade Stover, bro. Hey, this dude is a blocking monster. Huge. Ben Sinnott. These guys are big, and they're still running under 4.7. Very disappointed in Jatavian Sanders. He's huge, but 4.69 doesn't get it done. And Dallin Holker, who I actually like, probably shouldn't have declared. 4.78 is not good enough. This is a BYU transfer, went to Colorado State. He's married. Shout out to his wife. I think she runs cross country or track. Holker, he's the guy, you see the highlights where he caught one pass, held onto it, caught another pass. Now he's running with 2 footballs. Holker's a hell of a football player. Sucks that he ran a 4.78 and it's there, but tight ends can have varying speed. So these guys don't really change much in their value to me. You look at tight ends here, the number 1 tight end for me is Brock Bowers. There's nothing to talk about. Brock Bowers would be my number 1 pick. Excuse me. My number 1 pick in the NFL draft would be Brock Bowers. I don't care about anything other than results. And the only way I can tell you that Georgia won 2 national titles is they had a fucking unicorn at tight end, and his name is Brock Bowers. So I like Brock Bowers a lot. Jaheim Bell, I really believe in his athleticism. I'm disappointed in his 40, but I'm not changing it. Cade Stover, Ohio State guy, came back for his final year, wanted to go out there and be a part of the team. I like his mentality. I like the way he plays. I watched the tape. It's great. Sinnott, same thing, kind of cut from the same cloth. Devin Culp, you just saw him, the fastest tight end in the combine. But on tape, Washington had 2 great tight ends. And I'm going to talk about the other one here in a second, Jack Westover. Theo Johnson's a good player. Sanders, big body out of Texas, does his thing. But I want to talk about Westover. Westover didn't even play football for a while. He's the backup tight end at Washington. Listen to what I'm saying. The backup tight end at Washington is in my top 10. I just know that he's better than people in the NFL. I just know what his potential is, and I know that he's going to be a good player. I don't care. You do what you want to do, bro. Say what you want to say. Jack Westover is that guy for me. McLaughlin and Wiley are there. You can go look them up if you want to know about them. These are my top 5 guys. I've already talked about everybody. Jack Westover is the guy nobody believes in, but I do. And an NFL team will as well. He will be drafted. And when he's drafted and you're like, man, those guys watch RicoKnows videos. You're damn right they do. And they watch Jack Westover tape. He's really good. Trey Knox, transfer from Arkansas to South Carolina, 6'7". I think he's a good player, like Glasgow a lot. Phil Jerkovic, this is a joke. Used to be the quarterback at Pitt, got moved from quarterback to tight end. Shout out to him. Devin Garrison, just a long shot. I hope he makes it on an NFL team. And Joey Gatewood, the long-lost Cam Newton. Cam Newton is what I'll say. Coming out of high school, Joey Gatewood was a 4 or 5-star player, athlete, whatever. He went to Auburn, was supposed to be the next Cam Newton. Didn't work out for him. Couldn't play, couldn't start at quarterback, transferred to Kentucky, went to Kentucky, tried to play quarterback there, couldn't beat out Willie Levis and the boys, so he just sat the bench, chilled, and then they finally said, move to wide receiver. He moved to wide receiver for a little bit, went to UCF, couldn't make the 2 deep at UCF at wide receiver. He's just a dude on the bench. Last shot, he moves to tight end, transfers to Louisville, starts catching touchdowns towards later in the year. I think Joey Gatewood's got a really, really long shot to make it in the NFL. I like him a lot. So that's on me. That's on me. Not doing any offensive linemen for this show just because I don't think the combine helps offensive linemen, or at least I can't assess them at the combine. I watch tape and only tape. I don't give a shit what your bench press is. I don't care what your 40 is. Offensive lineman, I'm only impressed by your tape and nothing else. I want to make that clear. Defensive lineman, I feel the same way about defensive tackles. I don't really care what your 40 is. I watch the tape on you. And I see here, if we're going down defensive tackles, Braden Fisk ran the fastest 40. He ran a 4.78 40. For a man that's nearly 300 pounds, that's very, very impressive. Shout out to him. My number 1 defensive tackle is Byron Murphy. I don't care about anything else. I watch the tape. Byron Murphy is him. And we'll go down it. Now, I will say this. In fairness, I do combine defensive tackles and defensive ends into one thing. And I know that's crazy. Rico, they're edges. They're defensive. I just call it defensive line. And so some guys are more flashy than others. Obviously, the edges get a lot of the pub. But you see it down here. No one gives a shit if Miles Murphy down here ran 5'2". Tavondre Sweat ran 5'2". No one cares. These guys are gap pluggers. They're sitting at that, 1 and 3 gap shit and just sitting there fat, heavy, and don't let guys get up on my linebackers, right? You don't really even got to stunt with these dudes. They're just big and they're meaty, and we got to stop that tush push. So, defensive ends, it matters. How fast are you? Look at these speeds, bro. Dallas Turner, shout out to him, 4.46. Chop Robinson, 4.48. Mohamed Kamara, if you ever watched Colorado State tape, you knew Mohamed Kamara was fast. You knew he was one of the better defensive ends in America. Kamara, I believe he's number 8 when you watch the tape. Kamara is so good. Go back and watch all the film. He's been dominating for a while. Loved it. He's no Jared Verse. I don't care. Jared Verse is him, okay? Keep going down. Latu needs to be a little faster, but I'm cool with it. I love Latu as a prospect. Baptiste, love everything he did. We're getting down here. Once we start getting the 4.7 range, I'm disappointed. So I'm disappointed in Trice. It's just tough to catch a running back catching the edge. You want to be faster than him, I promise you. Disappointed in Isaac, but it is what it is. Marshawn Nealon doesn't matter. Probably I wouldn't draft him. I wouldn't draft any of these guys down here, like Austin Booker. Transferring in from Minnesota, I believe, to Kansas. I'm not impressed with some of these things. You can't be out here like Robinson, bro. You're a 4.95 40. No. You're not catching anyone. So with that being said, the 40s don't really change too much for me because I watch tape and I know who they are. I believe in them. If you see it here, my defensive lineman at this point, Byron Murphy's number 1, Dallas Turner number 2, Chop Robinson 3, Jared Verse 4, Newton at 5, Latu at 6, Mohamed Kamara at 7, Chris Jenkins at 8, and these are just big body dudes, 9, and then Braden Fisk at 10. My favorite guys are up here. The only guy you probably don't know at this point, Isaac Ukwu, transfer from JMU. He's a cybersecurity major, by the way. Transfer from JMU, going to Ole Miss. In the rotation at Ole Miss, but he used to be a sack artist. He used to be great. So I really like the kid. Really high upside and just a good character. I would love to have him on my team in the NFL. Taylor Upshaw, another one. Reagan Upshaw's son. His brother played at Clemson, became a team captain after being a walk-on. Upshaw was at Michigan for a while, transferred to Colorado for about 6 months, and then transferred to Arizona. I think Upshaw is great to have. Ovi Ogofu, I think he ended up at LSU, if I remember correctly this year, but he's a transfer from... Where is he from? Wyoming? Oregon State? I'm drawing a blank. And guys, for me to draw a blank on one player out of hundreds is a problem. My bad. It happens, though. Daniel Grzelyak, this was a sack artist, bro. You guys got to go back and watch his tape back in 2022. Stud. Jordan Dominic out of Colorado, transfer from Georgia Tech to Arkansas to Colorado. I think he's very good. Anthony Goodlow, transfer from Tulsa, going to Oklahoma State. Very good player. Like everything about Anthony Goodlow. Jack Sullivan, transfer from Purdue to USC. Good player. And then A.J. Simon's an FCS All-American. Turn on the tape. It pops. I like A.J. Simon. I hope people are paying attention. These are long shots to make it. I hope they do. But those are your top 10. Going to linebackers. In your 40s, at the combine, when we start looking at linebackers, people will talk about, well, did you see, all these running? Dude, I don't care. Only thing I want to see is, are you fast enough to get sideline to sideline? Because I already watched the tape. The best linebacker in the country is Peyton Wilson. Don't let anybody gas you on anybody else. Don't do it. Peyton Wilson is the best linebacker. Turn on NC State tape. It's a monster. And it's Peyton Wilson, okay? Running a 4.43 40 just proves it. Fastest guy, best from snap to snap. I think he's probably the best defender in the whole damn draft. To me, Peyton Wilson is a difference maker, bro. I talked about him in the MVPs every week. I was like, guys, we can't do nothing here. Peyton Wilson, NC State, they're going to shut this team down. That's the way I was talking. It's crazy. There will not be any scoring in this game. Peyton Wilson's here. That kind of deal. Cannon DeLoach, only Florida State player outside of Benson running well. Great run. Really impressed. Cooper, expected him to run decent and get a bunch of tackles. Wallace, I'm still not sold on, but congratulations. Shout out to Jordan McGee. I'm so happy for Jordan McGee. You play at a terrible defense like Temple. You have another player. There was another kid. His name is Kobe something. He transferred to SMU. It escapes me right now. But Jordan McGee, good player. Go turn on the tape. I like him. He's been on my top 10 for a while, but not the top 10 at the bottom, on my RicoKnows long shots. So I'm glad he ran good enough. The rest of these guys look kind of slow. I want to tell you, Trice Knight, when you watch tape, he pops. He sticks out. I notice him. Curtis Jacobs, same thing. Cedric Gray, disappointed with your speed. Now we get to 4.7s. I can't even draft you at 4.7. 4.7 linebackers, I can't draft you. I don't care. Can't do it, bro. And I like Easton Gibbs a lot. I like Easton Gibbs a lot at Wyoming. If you go turn on the tape, I like what he's doing. I can't draft you. I'm going to sign you as an undrafted free agent. If I couldn't draft Bumper Pool, I can't draft you. If I couldn't get Carlton Martial, like I can't get certain good linebackers, I can't draft you. Isaiah Lamb, like there's good linebackers that didn't get drafted last year that I really believed in. Shout out to Ivan Pace Jr. If you guys don't know, everybody's like, well, what is Rico talking about? You're lying. You didn't have all these guys on your list. Bro, the list is still here from 2023. The linebackers are still here. Ivan Pace Jr., Bumper Pool, Carlton Martial, Isaiah Lamb. I know who's not getting drafted. I know who I still believe in, though. Caleb Murphy made an NFL team. Ivan Pace Jr. made an NFL team. These are undrafted guys making NFL teams. Starling Thomas V. My list will have undrafted guys making NFL teams. Don't you ever forget it. And more importantly, Marty Mapow, FCS player. I said he's my number one safety. Everybody thought I was crazy. Gets drafted in the third round by the Patriots. I'm just saying, I do a different level of research. Watch the film. NFL scouts, watch the film. Don't be lazy. Watch the film. So, that being said, my linebackers that I believe in, even after the combine, you got it here. Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson, best player, I told you, in the draft, best linebacker, blah, 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 blah. Somebody who didn't run, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., I don't care if he ran or not. He's still my number 2 linebacker. Junior Colson's number 3. And then I got Edrin Cooper there. Cedric Gay dropped a little bit. Gray, I'm sorry. Jalen Ford, Trevin Wallace. Kalen DeLoach showed up because of his 40. I still like Tommy Eichenberg. If you didn't watch Ohio State football and you don't know who Tommy Eichenberg is, that's on you. And then we got Hopper at the end. When I look at the linebackers I actually like, that are my favorite, shout out to Mike Barrett. This was one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks coming out of high school, Lowndes High School. Follower of the channel, him and his father, reaching out to me, talked to both of them at length, made a video about them. I think it was cool. It was Mike Barrett didn't see it for like 2 months. And then one day he just wrote me and was like, yo, bro, you made a video about me? That's awesome. Da-da-da-da-da. But this guy was one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in America, man. He really was. And when he went to Michigan, he was supposed to compete with Joe Milton for the quarterback spot. And they moved him to linebacker. And then we never heard about him for a couple years. And then he's been the best linebacker at Michigan for 2 years now. I really like Mike Barrett. I think he's a good teammate. I think he's a good player. Didn't transfer. Didn't get mad he was on the bench and only special teams. He did his damn thing. I like him. Richard Juvenor. Shout out to Troy. That's a sack expert. I really like his sack ability. Jacob Roberts, FCS All-American 2 years ago. Shout out to HBCU. Transfers in to Wake to increase his draft stock. I still like him, bro. Go turn on the tape. Jacob Roberts is good. Winston Reed is an FCS All-American I really like. Easton Gibbs, Wyoming linebacker, had to move him at this point because he ran a 4.7 40. So I don't think he's going to make it. Jordan McGee, like I told you, ran really fast. Temple's leading tackler. Bryce Gallagher, really respect him. Dylan Kelly. This is Chad Kelly's little brother. Jim Kelly's nephew. So this is another nephew of the Kellys. Great at Holy Cross, linebacker, little undersized, 6'2", 218, but he's everywhere, makes all the tackles you want to see. Joe Anderson just transferred to Buffalo this year after playing at Bryant for like 4 years. He led the country in solo tackles 2 years ago. I think he's a really good tackle machine. I highly doubt he makes it on a team. Billy Schaefer probably won't make it. This is a kid that played at Lafayette this year, and he finally got 8 sacks this year, but he's a little undersized as an edge rusher. Probably won't make it. It's cool. These are UFL guys. Some of them are UFL guys. It's all right. I ain't mad at them. Still my favorite. Super long shots. Corners, I already talked about this in another episode, so I want to be very clear. What happened here on the list, let's do the combine first. Let's just stay in rhythm. So staying in rhythm for the combine, looking at corners, 40-yard really does matter. But the way this matters is we know you're fast. We've seen it on tape, but we got to know, are you fast? And Nate Wiggins is fast, right? Nate Wiggins has very little production on tape. He doesn't have a lot of interceptions. Doesn't have a lot of balls batted down. He just is fast as hell. Got it. Look good. Look good, bro. Go out there, run a 4.28. Get at me. I like Nate Wiggins a lot. He was already in my top. I want to say he was my third or fourth best corner. I moved him up because of the 40. And then I have a lot of respect for Quinyon Mitchell. Obviously, I'm a group of 5 guy. I love all the group of 5 guys. Multiple years with batted passes over 10. If you didn't know, that's the gold standard. Get at least 10 batted passes. Be a ball hawk. Find it. And they'll get some interceptions. Mitchell's done that multiple years now. Really like everything about him. DeCameron Richardson, been starting for a long time at Mississippi State. Was in the transfer portal initially. Then declared for the draft. Shocked me running 4.34. Shocked me to be the third fastest corner in the draft. I was thoroughly impressed. Nehemiah Pritchard does not pop on tape for me. I don't give a shit how fast he is on here. I probably am not interested in drafting him. Hope other teams are. Jarian Jones. Good luck, man. Florida State running a 4.38. These are fast guys, bro. Look at everybody ran 4.3s. Max Melton is not good on tape fundamentally for me. Congratulations, though. I'm sure everybody's getting drafted because they're 4.340s. All you wide receivers out there, this is what you're trying to run away from. A fucking nickel corner that runs 4.3. It's crazy. Shout out to DJ James. Elijah Jones, the first guy I saw where I got really excited. If you guys don't know the deal, Elijah Jones, no one's talking about before this combine. And I don't know if they're talking about him after the combine, but I'm talking about him. Elijah Jones plays at Boston College. Why does that matter to me? Because Jeff Hafley, the former head coach at Boston College, was once an NFL defensive backs coach, has a ton of NFL pedigree, and he's coaching his corners to do the damn thing, okay? And when Elijah Jones and who's the kid who went to Texas A&M? I'm drawing a blank right now. Just transferred to Texas A&M this last year, all conference corners. When these guys, when you watch them on tape, they fundamentally play great. And it's just such a high level. Elijah Jones has Josh DeBerry. Thank you so much. Elijah Jones is that guy, bro. And he's the one, when I told you I want a ball hawk, I want a guy with production, interceptions, passes batted down. This is my guy. So I really think highly of Elijah Jones. People don't understand. You don't have to talk about it. But when you see a team draft him in the 3rd or 4th round and you start looking around going, who the fuck is Elijah Jones? Remember where you heard it first, okay? Not worried about any of these other 40s. Willie Drew, congratulations to him. Virginia State, Division II player, comes out there and runs a 4.46. People are always worried about your speed at this level. 4.47, still fast. Mike Sane Ristrel, Michigan kid. I think he's good. He's a good player on tape. Renardo Green, not a good player on tape, but more power to him running a 4.49. Very disappointed in Terrion Arnold's 4.5. I hope he runs faster at the pro day. I love Terrion Arnold as a player. Played at the highest level. Started immediately. Been balling out at Alabama. I think Terrion Arnold was my number 1 corner going into this combine. I still really think highly of him as a player. I respect his skill set. I think he's an NFL player. We'll see what happens. Shout out to Cam Hart running 4.5. Not good. You see, and the difference here is this. Kyrie Jackson runs a 4.5, and that man is 6'3", though. Huge difference. Kyrie Jackson, for me, undraftable. Very clear. I would never draft Kyrie Jackson. He's there. He's 6'3". He's a former Alabama kid. Went to Oregon. Just balled out of control all season. Rico, why wouldn't you draft him? Massive character concerns. I've gotten at least 12 DMs about Kyrie Jackson. He got kicked out of 3 different JUCOs. Only played at 1. No, played at 2, but got kicked out of 3. Got kicked out of Alabama. He's been kicked out of 4 universities. That's like fucking 80 adult coaches giving up on this man. But he was able to go to Oregon, keep his nose clean for 4 months, and now he's in the NFL draft. I don't think very highly of Kyrie Jackson as a person. Hell of a football player, if you want him. He's better than a lot of these guys, skill set wise. Running a 4.5 40 does not reduce his draft stock. He is a good football player. I wouldn't want him in my locker room. I would not invest millions of dollars in him. Let me say this. Like, let's say you had a girl. Let's say you were dating a girl, and she fine as hell. And you're like, yo, Rick, man, she fine as hell, bro. All right, are you going to buy her a chain? Are you going to buy her a charm and a necklace? Are you going to buy her shoes, red bottoms? Are you going to buy her rings? Are you going to put a ring on it? If you found out she's addicted to drugs, or you found out that she's always cheating, can you wifey that? Would you invest your future in that if you knew she had all these problems? So now when you look at these players and you know that they struggle with these problems, are you investing millions of dollars in them? You want to sign him to a contract and have him wear your jersey and represent your brand? Ask the Raiders. I wouldn't want it, bro. I wouldn't want it. So that's why I look at certain players, and I just want to say this. There's so many players here that are law-abiding citizens, that haven't been kicked out of universities, that are coachable, that do listen to their coaches, that do everything right. Let me say this. Nick Saban, for years upon years, I've always screamed at Alabama, hold your players accountable. Get rid of the bad apples. If somebody broke the law, get rid of them. Everybody's always like, well, Rico, so-and-so. Everybody needs a second chance, You know who Alabama has never given a second chance to? Any player that has been kicked out of school. Let me make that clear again. Alabama has never signed a player from the transfer portal that was kicked out of his previous school. Not one. They sign players. They're not going to sign you if you were kicked out of another school. Now, they got players they give second chances to on their roster, and then they eventually get rid of them. But one thing they never did was sign a problem. And I admire Nick Saban for that, for recognizing, hey, man, we might not have the answers here in this locker room right now, but we sure as hell ain't doing that shit over there. Never picked up one cancer. When you look at the players they added to their locker room from the transfer portal, not one cancer. Nope. You might have missed in recruiting, but you didn't bring in a terrible player from the transfer portal. Now, Oregon, last chance you, they're bringing in, they're just, hey, bring them. And the NFL has this issue where they bring in people who are inherently terrible people. And it's the audacity of the coaching staff to say, we can make him better. We're going to take, with us in our program, the way we do it, the Patriot way, we're going to make him better. It's crazy. This guy says, Cap, Jermaine Burton. Jermaine Burton did nothing wrong before joining Alabama. He did punch someone in the crowd, but I believe he was never kicked off of a team. But please understand what I'm saying is if you're in the NFL and you're about to invest millions of dollars in your player that you're about to draft, your players, pick ones that are going to be with you, man. Pick ones that aren't getting arrested. Pick ones that aren't going to be a problem. Pick the right ones. Easier said than done. I just have a problem. Like when I see a player with character concerns, I just take him off my draft board. There's too many good options to even look at that guy. Like Caleb Williams, refusing to do his medical. All right. I'm just taking him off. I'm just taking him off my draft board. Boom. It don't matter. There's other guys. Let's keep it moving. Easy for me to say I'm sitting over here, right? I don't lose my job getting it wrong. But I'm telling you, these guys, these scouts, these coaches, these coordinators, the audacity of them, it's crazy. So Kyrie Jackson, good player. Ennis Rackstraw, good player. No production whatsoever. I don't believe in him at all. As a player, I just think he has terrible ball skills. Like, you're going to watch games in the NFL where he's near the ball, and then he's just going to be missing. Like, it's just not going to be there. He's not going to get it. And you're going to be like, damn, he could have picked that off. No, he couldn't have picked it off. He never did in college. Homie got 2 interceptions his whole career. Like, you look at a player, and you're like, man, he's right there. He could have made the play. No, he couldn't. Some people can, and some people can't. These guys can't. Josh Newton makes plays. I was disappointed in his 4.5 140. I wish it was faster. I really like Josh Newton. Very good player. Tape. Stud tape. Everybody else not too worried about it. This is too slow to play corner in the NFL. Kalen King, 4.6 140, 4.6 440. You got to move to safety. Get bigger, move to safety, or embrace playing in the in the Canadian Football League or something. You can't play in the NFL. All right, so let me show you guys my top 10 list. For anybody just joining the live stream and you're like, I'm here late, you can go to YouTube after this and you can see the post. You can go to YouTube and see the post after this. I'm not live streaming it on YouTube right now, but I will post it and you can see every single position group. So looking at corners, I already talked about this before. I'm starting at the bottom down here. My top 10, Kenyon Mitchell, he is what he is. He's a great cover corner. He's been productive for multiple years, very fast. Finds the ball, makes plays, whatever. I move Nate Wiggins up. I had Terran Arnold number 1. Can't be my number 1 corner running a 4.5 40. You just can't. And I never had concern about his speed. But then again, the receivers in the SEC, by and large, aren't burners. They really aren't. There's about 3 or 4 of them that'll blow right past you. Everybody else just did not impress, okay? At least not on tape. So shout out to Terran Arnold. I still think he's a very good player. Not sure what's going on with Kool-Aid McKinstry or why anybody's talking negatively about him. I think Kool-Aid's one of the top corners. I got him at 4. 5 is Josh Newton. Like I said, I really like the player. Pay attention. Jarius Monroe. He's got the size. He's 6'2", 205, two-lane. Really like what Jarius Monroe looks like on tape. Cooper DeJean, if they're moving him to center or to safety, that's news to me, but I still got him at corner. Elijah Jones, like I said, highly productive, out of Boston College. Don't play with his name. I think Elijah Jones is an NFL football player, and he's one of my top 10 corners. Micah Abraham, so productive. It's unreal. Out of Marshall. A little undersized, but he finds the football, man. I'm just go watch the tape of Micah Abraham. Just turn on Marshall football, and on defense, just keep looking for Abraham at the corner spot. Just keep looking. You can watch every game and just keep looking at those corner spots. Fast forward through the offense. You don't want to see Rasheen Ali. You don't want to see what they're doing over there. Go back and just keep watching the corner positions. You will see Micah Abraham. He's fucking great. Kyrie Jackson. It'd be irresponsible not to put him in my top 10, so I put him 10th. But I would not draft Kyrie Jackson, ever. I think he's got terrible character concerns. Okay, my top 5 favorite corners. You guys already know him. The only guy I'm leaving off is Beanie Bishop. Beanie Bishop is little. He's undersized. He had 20 passes deflected this year for West Virginia. 20 passes deflected. Guys, that's out of this way. He led the country in passes deflected. He finds the football. Don't play with him. Excuse me. Then the 5 super long shots. Quantez Stiggers did not play college football. Went to Canadian Football League. If you don't know his story, after high school was supposed to go to an HBCU. Didn't work out. They canceled their season because of COVID. So then he just went and played in the CFL. I'm sorry. Then his father passed away. Then he gave up playing football because why go play if the person you wanted to watch you play doesn't show up anymore, right? So then he eventually went to the Canadian Football League, balled out, ended up in the fan-controlled football league, balled out. And now we see Quantez Stiggers doing his thing. I hope he gets drafted. Reedy Stewart, stud player out of Troy. Shout out to him. DeCorian Patterson 2 years ago led the country in interceptions at Middle Tennessee State. Ended up transferring to UCF. Became a role player. Was not happy about that. But I want to see a team give him a chance. I hope. Miles Jones used to play at where did he used to play? Texas A&M. Texas A&M, 6'4", something 200 pounds or so. Stud player back in 2018, 2019. Been dealing with injuries ever since. This guy will not be drafted, but give him a shot, man. Give him a chance. He's still very good. Was at Duke this year. Didn't get to play much. I just like Miles Jones, okay? He's a super long shot. And then Joshua Hayward, I picked one lower-level guy that I believe will make it in the NFL. Let's move over to safeties. Have you noticed safeties in the combine? I apologize. Let me not pull that up. I was pulling up the sports book because I'm out here doing my thing. Excuse me. And we'll finish off with safeties. Looking at the safety speed, you see it. Not too many guys under 4.5. They got about, 6 of them? And then everybody else is down here running slower than hell. And you don't need safeties to be burners. They're fast enough to be out there and make plays. They're still faster than 4.7, right? That's fine. But when you look at it, not surprised by some of these names. I will say that Jalen Simpson really impressed me. I thought he was a high-level player to begin with. 4.45 is quality out of Auburn. Shout out to Cole Bishop. If you guys don't know, Cole Bishop has the right size to play safety. That's a big safety right there. That's a problem. Tyke Smith on the inverse is too small to play safety. He's only 5'10". I don't like it. Shout out to Georgia. I don't like it. Javon Bullard, valid character concerns. Again, valid character concerns, but he's probably the best safety skill-wise in this whole thing. Like, he really is. He's a good player. He's very good, and I just don't want him. I wouldn't draft a safety this year if he was the only guy that I had to take. Like, I just wouldn't. I'd go trade for a free agent or something. I just don't like Javon Bullard. I can't rely on him. I can't. He's a good player, man. Kalen Bullock, USC. I don't believe in USC defensive players, especially not when I watch the tape. Love Josh Proctor on tape. I was disappointed in some of this speed down here, but 4.58. You're a big safety. Oladapo, big. Andre Sam, LSU. He's a transfer. He transferred into LSU this year. Evan Williams just transferred into Oregon. Jalen Key just transferred into Bama. All these are transfers, bro. And I'm going to tell you, they're all pretty good players. I like all of them. They're very likable, this whole group right here. And then Sione Vaki, one of my favorite players. You guys didn't know, he played both ways. He played running back and safety at Utah this year. I went on the record and said Sione Vaki was the best two-way player in the country. Shout out to Travis Hunter. I like Sione Vaki as a football player. Very good player. I like him. 4'6", 240. Not that great, man. Not happy about it, but he's still a very good football player. Ultimate athlete. Total team player. When you hear about a guy going both ways and no one in the country's talking about him, that's crazy because he's that good, okay? Sione Vaki's him. He did it at Utah, bro. He's going both ways at Utah. Utah's a much better team than Colorado. Utah is a fucking two-time Pac-12 champ. Back-to-back Pac-12 champs. Like, that's a real team, bro. Stop the nonsense. Anyways, let's talk about these two safeties at the bottom. You have a genuine question. What did Javon Bullard do? He got arrested for a DUI just last season, bro. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh my goodness. Get a DUI. See what happens. See what your job does. You get a DUI in the civilian world. See what your job does. They will fire your ass. You guys see a football player get a DUI. He's like, oh, I like that guy. Fire his ass. Cameron Kitchens, James Williams. Running 40s. Shout out to Miami. The two best safeties out there are Cameron Kitchens and James Williams. I want you guys to know this. On tape, the two best safeties are Cam Kitchens and James Williams. And they go out there and run the same speed, 4.65, the slowest time of any safety, and they want to know, Rico, what are you going to do about it? Because you don't accidentally run for 4.65 and then run 4.4. I'm going to tell you something. I draft the hell out of Cam Kitchens. For 2 years now, Cam Kitchens has been that guy. For 2 years now, Cam Kitchens has been the best safety in America. I don't care what he ran. I watched the tape. If teams drop him because of that 40 time right there, they're not watching tape. I don't care. I look at that and I say, whoa, both Miami guys ran slow? Oh, they must have overtrained. These guys must have been sore, didn't eat right, didn't work out right. They got the wrong speed coach. They went to the wrong prep camp. That's all that is. James Williams, 6'5", bro. 6'5" at safety. I'm not drafting James Williams. I'm not. This is Cam Kitchens, dude. I don't care, bro. Turn on the tape. So let's go look at the safeties. Cam Kitchens, number one safety. Don't give a shit. I don't care, bro. Hey, Rico, you know your number one safety ran a 4.65 40? Yes. Go turn on the tape. That dude is the best safety in America and has been for 2 years. Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota. He's 6'2", can move around, make plays. He's a great playmaker. I like Tyler Nubin. Some people might want to move him to number one because of the 40. I don't care. It's apples and oranges, bro. It don't matter. Tomato, tomato. Not apples and oranges. Tomato, tomato. Potato, potato. Neither, either. You know what I'm saying. Javon Bullard here, the third best safety in America for me in the draft. And I'm going to tell you, I still wouldn't draft him. But I get it. Like, he's very good. I just wouldn't draft a player that got a DUI. I personally wouldn't. Decision-making is terrible. Immaturity, willingness to break the law. A lot of things I don't like. And I know everybody's a criminal. Well, that's why I don't watch NFL football. Jaden Hicks is him. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Jaden Hicks is my number 4 guy. Cole Bishop, I believe in his size. James Williams is still a 6'5" safety. I believe in his size. A lot of these guys are size and speed metrics all day. Jalen Simpson, he ran his way into my top 10. And then on tape, Josh Proctor looks great. And don't you dare not know who P.J. Jules is, okay? Go find tape on P.J. Jules. Go watch it and believe in P.J. Jules. This is a good player, like a straight baller. Go look it up. Top 10. No one has him in their top 10. No one's going to agree with me. I don't care. Turn on the tape, bro. P.J. Jules, he will be getting drafted. Mark my words. Shout out to P.J. Jules. And then the fastest at the combine was Dimerson here, Taylor Dimerson. So we'll go up to my favorite players. You see it. Sione Vaki, Cameron Kitchens, PJ Jules, Kadarian Ray, 6'4", safety out of Tulsa. Turn on the tape. He pops. Evan Williams, everybody going to say, he's from Oregon. No, he's not. He played at Fresno State all those years. He just went to Oregon last year for one time. I still like Evan Williams. Andre Sam, a transfer. Love everything about him. Eddie Heckard, BYU. Stud, bro. Stud. Turn on the tape. South Dakota State. Turn on the tape. And then I got a couple more FCS guys that I believe in. Listen, guys, if you don't know all these players, I'm going to be making videos on them throughout the month. Leading up to the draft, I will be highlighting pretty much every player. I'll be doing different videos on the position groups. I hope you learned a lot about the NFL draft, who my top 10 are, who these guys are. But remember this, we don't disregard the combine completely. It's just not the be-all, end-all. And I only went through one metric. There's other things that you can go through, vertical jumps and broad jumps and bench press and all this. I'm just telling you, I don't lose my mind when it comes to the NFL Combine. Now, before I end this episode, I'm going to take questions from TikTok. There are 90 people watching on TikTok right now. I'm going to take questions from TikTok. You guys, I can't see it after it's posted because it goes away, so bear with me. The first question I have here is Starks a better prospect than Bullard? He's talking about Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks, coming out of high school, he went to Jefferson High School. And here's how you know this. People always say, Rico, you just Google all these guys. You don't really know anybody. I don't even have a clue what the questions are. I don't have a clue what we're talking about. I just go, bro. Okay? So Malachi Starks went to Jefferson High School, and that's the same high school as Sammy Brown. Shout out to him going to Clemson. But at Jefferson, Malachi was a running back. And so I go watch him play. I watched him play in person. And I remember watching him play and thought, my God, this is one of the best damn running backs I ever seen. I said, well, he's going to Georgia. I said, oh, my God, I really like this kid. I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to take over that running back room. And then the next year, he's a starting safety at Georgia as a freshman. Everybody always talks about Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs. And I love Caleb Downs. Shout out to Mill Creek. I love Caleb Downs. Malachi Starks is him, bro. Malachi Starks is just as good. I think he's a great prospect. I think he's the best safety in America. I think he's great. Yes, he's a better prospect to me than Javon Bullard. He obviously has zero character concerns. That's my bigger issue, right? I want to invest money in someone who's good, in someone who's professionally driven, the right mindset, doing all the right things on and off the field. I love it. So, yeah, I'm with it. Which Texas wide receiver will go first? I think Worthy is going to probably end up going first. I wouldn't take him before Mitchell, though. I wouldn't take him before Mitchell. Not a chance in hell. How do I feel about Luke McCaffrey? Rewind the show. You'll be able to watch this on YouTube when I post it right now. You can watch it then. I already talked about Luke McCaffrey. I apologize. Why did Kitchens fall? Am I missing off the field issues? No. Kitchens is my number one safety. He's going to fall because he ran a 4.65 40. He ran the slowest 40 of any safety at the combine. That's why he's going to fall. But how far is he going to fall? Listen, safeties don't get drafted in the first round anymore. At least not. You're the best safety, you're not going first round. It's very rare. I'd say once every 5 to 7 years they'll take a safety in the first round. Safeties are not first round draft picks anymore. Thoughts on Ricky Pearsall? I didn't really talk about Ricky all that much. I'll just say that I think Ricky Pearsall is a good wide receiver, but when you start looking at Ricky Pearsall, where is he on your NFL depth chart? He's the third best receiver on your team, essentially. He's not a 1 or a 2 on your team. I don't see him that way. I don't think he could ever be that way, not in the NFL. So what do we do? You draft him later in the draft. You get him in the 5th round or something. You take him any earlier, I think you're just enamored with nonsense. Does Miles Murphy hurt himself not coming out last year? No. I think last year's class was very strong. I don't think you ever hurt yourself. You just keep playing and do your thing. Where do you have Johnny Wilson ranked? I don't have Johnny Wilson ranked. I only have 10 spots, and then I have 5 for my 5 favorites, and then I have 5 for my 5 long shots. And long shots are typically FCS guys. My 5 favorites are going to be guys I have relationships with that have known many years or I've looked into at length. So that it's really hard to get in my 5 favorites. It's really hard to get in the 5 long shots. Those are guys, FCS All-Americans, stuff like that. But the top 10, Johnny Wilson's not a top 10 wide receiver. Could you look into my tape? Yeah, watch my pinned videos. It'll explain for you how to get into the tape. Kyle Hamilton, first round safety, prime example. Yeah. Do you think Johnny Wilson might have to transition to tight end? I saw teams asking him if he'd work out there. Well, that's fine. I just think that I think people underrate how important blocking as a tight end is. Like, I think people don't understand the requirements of being a tight end. There are people who've been playing tight end their whole lives, and they're really good at it. And if you take a guy that's going to transition to that position, I want to use a term, and I don't want to disparage anyone, but the term is a tweener. When you're a tweener, that is the primary way to drop in a draft. That happened to Donyell Marshall out of UConn back in the day in basketball. But I want you to think about basketball. You know, you're halfway between a power forward and a small forward. We're not quite sure what you are. You're the size of a small forward. You're 6'6", but you're built like Barkley. You don't really fit. And when you're a slow, big wide receiver who can't block, you don't really fit. Is Fisk from FSU worth a top 20 pick off his combine performance? Justin McLean, absolutely not. That is absurd. I don't even have him in my top. He's my 10th best defensive lineman. I don't give a shit about a 40-yard dash or no, that's absurd. Yeah, I can't do that. Brock Bowers, Aaron Hernandez comp has been going around. People scared due to Hernandez. Thoughts? Aaron Hernandez is a very good tight end. If we're talking about on the field, he was a baller on the field. Like, what are we talking about? That is not a problem. Brock Bowers and Aaron Hernandez comparisons probably sound somewhat accurate. I think Brock Bowers is special, though. I think what he did at Georgia can't be duplicated. Brock Bowers is so good, he got Stetson Bennett into the NFL. That's how good Brock Bowers is. So I don't know what you guys are saying. That sounds crazy to me. Graham Barton, guard. Yeah, I'm going to do my offensive lineman in my next podcast. So, that's a whole nother issue there. Hey, I'm not going to sit here and talk too long, guys. I don't want this episode to go too long. We've already been going for over an hour. So just want to say the title of this video, it will be on YouTube. I'm going to title it NFL Draft Combine Recap. NFL Draft Combine Recap. And we'll go from there. Hope to see you guys there. I'm going to post it on YouTube. See you guys in a few. Remember, your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all. Be safe.